Salesforce.com, Mark Benioff.
Welcome, Dreamforce! Welcome to Dreamforce 2011. We are so delighted to have everybody here. Welcome. Welcome. What a great opening, huh? Thank you to Danny and Anakaka for calling all the way from Hawaii, and aloha to them. Thank you. And with that opening video, are we ready for Metallica tonight? All right. We're so excited to have Metallica this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now part of the largest technology conference in the industry. 45,000 registered attendees here at Dreamforce 2011. Congratulations. 15,000 people are here in the keynote hall. And as you can see, we've changed the keynote hall this year so that those people in the back of the room have a slightly closer view of the stage. And I can also tell you we're also joined by 35,000 people online. We are so excited to have everybody here. We are delighted. And we want to show you today one really critical message: how to delight your customers in a whole new way. That's what we want to do today. You see, Salesforce.com was born cloud. We were born cloud in 1999, but we have been reborn social. And we're going to show you today what Salesforce.com is doing to help create that social enterprise, and what our vision is for the social enterprise, and how we hope that this conference is going to show you how you can become a social enterprise as well. Now, I want to get social here at Salesforce.com. I want to get social at Dreamforce 2011. On Twitter, you can follow us on this hashtag #DF11, Facebook.com/Salesforce, and we've created our own private community just for you to participate with us at this conference, which is Dreamforce.com/login, and everyone in this room and everyone who's attended the conference and registered to attend has a username and a password to attend this great community. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, this conference is all about you. We recognize that. This is not about us. This is all about you. We want to thank you. We want to thank you for everything that you have done for us. We want to deliver the gratitude that you rightly deserve for creating this conference, for creating this industry, for creating this company. We are so thrilled and so grateful. We want to thank you. And all of our employees are here to do one thing at this conference, was to serve you. And I just want to bring the energy back to everyone else in this room and just say thank you for everything that you do for us every day. Now, before we begin the conference, as you know, Salesforce.com is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. This is our safe harbor statement that governs my keynote, as you probably know. This is our new social safe harbor statement. It's better, it's more social, more mobile, more cloud than ever before. For 13 years, we've been on stages like this all over the world talking to the industry, and we've been saying, look, things are changing, the world is changing, we are going to go through another huge paradigm shift. We've moved from the mainframes and we moved into client-server computing. And we're moving into the cloud. And you've listened and you've responded in kind, and it's been amazing, and you've created a company that has more than a $2 billion annual run rate. Amazing. There's more than 100,000 Salesforce customers today on our core services. And we're delivering more than 36 billion transactions a day to you. Based on this new technology model, this multi-tenant vision that we have of shared services, and this new technology model, and this new business model was also complemented by something else that was so important. And that was our new philanthropic model. And this new philanthropic model was the day that we started Salesforce.com. We took 1% of our equity, 1% of our profit, and 1% of all of our employees' time. We put it into a 501c3 public charity. And we said, as we become successful, we will bring others with us, and we will help them to be successful as well. It was not enough for us to be successful. They must also be successful. And this is a very special time because I want to recognize the 12,000 nonprofits that use our product for free, the 270,000 hours that we've been able to give back to the community and community service, the $24 million in grants that have come out of the foundation. But most importantly, I want to ask all of the nonprofit and non-governmental organizations that we serve who are here today to please stand up and stay standing and be recognized. Please stand up if you're the nonprofit or a non-governmental organization. Thank you. Right. Thank you. And the reason that I asked them to stay standing is because I want you, the commercial customers, to pay attention to them. Because we've seen over the last 13 years, you can really help them. You've got the skills and the resources, and you've got the ideas that can help transform those nonprofits and NGOs, and they are not as blessed with all of the technical resources as many of the organizations are in this room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. I love my job. And let me tell you what I love about my job. Let me tell you what I love about my job. Byron, how are you? Great to have you at Dreamforce. Don, great to see you. Let me tell you what I love about my job. It's the constant, never-ending change. That is what is so exciting about our industry. It's constantly changing. From the mainframes, brought to us with IBM, with Thomas Watson Jr., and into the mini computers with Ken Olsen, with DEC, and into the PC era, where we saw that incredible work of Bill Gates to control our industry. And then we moved past that, thank God, and we moved into an incredible mobile era, led by none other than the great Steve Jobs. And now we're being led into a new era, an exciting new era. And this new era that's happening today, the one that is so exciting, is this social revolution, which is why we want to bring you a social enterprise. Welcome to Dreamforce. We're great to have you here. This social revolution is really unlike any other paradigm that we've experienced. Because just think about this. We just had Dreamforce 10 months ago. Remember that? Weren't we just here 10 months ago? How do we know there's a social revolution? Well, have you been watching the news? Have you been seeing what's going on the news? Arab Spring, the fall of countries, protests of hundreds of thousands of people, the fall of dictators. And you know what's unusual about this time? There were no signs that said, "Thank you, Microsoft." There were no signs that said, "Thank you, IBM." No, look at this. "Thank you, Facebook." In all these different languages, and in all these different cultures, in all these different parts of the world. Isn't that amazing? It's just phenomenal what is happening. The technology is creating this change and transformation. It's an Arab Spring. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to pay attention to that here at this conference too. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why we have to pay attention to it. Because it's not so long from now then we'll start to hear about a corporate spring, an enterprise spring. We've seen Mubarak fall, we've seen Gaddafi fall. When will the first corporate CEO fall for the same reason? Because his customers or her customers are rising up, or not listening to their employees, not paying attention. I know I think about that myself every day. Am I doing enough to listen to the customers? Am I doing enough to listen to the employees? Because we've seen, and this is what this sign is, that it's more important to listen than ever before. It just is. That's the social revolution. Look at this. Look at this. Social networking users passing email users. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many people in this room have a Facebook account or a Twitter account? Raise your hand if you have a Facebook or Twitter account. Look around the room. It's a social revolution. It's a social revolution. Social networking users passing email users. Look at this. Look at how Facebook is eating the web. It used to be about www. Now it's also about facebook.com/your company, your product, your project. Facebook is eating the web. And the web itself is shrinking because of Facebook, because of this social revolution. I think that's what we're trying to get our heads around at Salesforce. Really just since the last Dreamforce. We can see it in Arab Spring, but we can also see it throughout our customers. And I've seen it. I've seen it throughout our enterprises. I've seen it in every aspect of the world that I've traveled to. Look at this. It's not just about social completely. It's also about mobile. This year, you all saw this, people are browsing the web more on mobile devices now than on PCs. It's the fall of the PC. It's a PC spring. The PC, HP just threw their hat in the ring on PCs and said, we're out. Why? Because of this. Look at this. Smartphones, tablets are taking over. We recognize that. We recognize that incredible fact. How many people here brought a smartphone with them to the conference? Of course. How many people here brought their iPad with them to the conference? A device barely around for a year. Amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing time in our industry. It's a time of change. It's a time of revolution. It's a social revolution. And it's not just about consumers. It's not just about consumers. It's also about enterprise. Look at this. You can see it right here. A shift from last year when we were at Dreamforce, where our customers were saying, oh yeah, you know, it's about consumers. People are using this at home. That's great. But also, it's about the enterprise. Ohayo gozaimasu. So, what's happening? What do we need to be thinking about? This social revolution, doesn't matter where we've gone in the world, whether it's in Japan, the US, Europe, it's created a social divide. This social revolution has created a social divide. Yes, look at the people in this room. Our customers are social. Our employees are social. But are our customers and employees being social with our companies? What about our companies? Are our companies social? Do we have social enterprises? Welcome to Dreamforce. Great to have you. Are our enterprises social? This is what has really been on my mind since we got together last. I've really been thinking about, are our enterprises social? Or are we in this gap? And what's the message? The thing that's been on my mind as I've traveled around the world and talked to all of you is, how do we bridge this social divide? What are the things that we're going to do? What are our key messages that we can do to help you bridge that social divide? That is what we want to know. That is what we want to answer. And we've searched, honestly, for that answer. We've talked to hundreds of you. Personally, I've talked to thousands. I've gone around the world. I've traveled more in the last 6 months than I've traveled in the last 6 years. And the reason why is because I believe that this change, that this transformation is so important that we needed to look for a new answer. And yes, we've been talking about this change. At the last Dreamforce, we talked about Cloud 2, about social and mobile. But think about this. Think about this. What is our answer? How do we bridge the social divide? What is the formula? And as we've looked, and as we've talked to you, and as we've looked for best practices, because honestly, that's the way to answer these problems. You go and you model the success stories. You go and model the winners. You find the companies that are breaking through, and you go ask them, what are they doing? How are they breaking through? What changes are they making? What is happening? Alan, great to see you. You're guarding the Coke machine? Fantastic. How does your enterprise bridge the social divide? It's the CTO of Coca-Cola. How does your enterprise bridge the social divide? So we've looked for those best practices, we've modeled those customers, and we've come up with a 3-step formula that we want to introduce to you today. we want to show you this 3-step formula for creating a social enterprise. Let's do it. Let's look at it. What is it? Well, the first step is your database. At the end of the day, it's all about your database. Are you keeping track of your customers' social information? Are you paying attention to their handles? Do you know who they are on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn and on the other social networks? Are you keeping track of their tweets and their Facebook entries? Are you learning about them? Are you growing and evolving your knowledge of what your customers want through this new technology? You can learn more from your customers than ever before on the networks. But are you creating this social database? This is step one, and I want to talk about that today in today's presentation. Step two, we're learning more about our customers. What's step two? We want to create a social network, an employee social network. We've been talking about that for a couple years here at Dreamforce, haven't we? 2 years ago, we announced Chatter. But employee social networks is more than creating a private Facebook for your enterprise. We've learned that from you, our customers. We saw the best practices where you were collaborating, but collaboration to you, the winners, was not just about creating another island of collaboration. It wasn't about just creating another island of data. It was about integrating all your business processes and your workflow and all of your key applications into that employee social network. And it was about including the sales force. It was about including the customer service organization. And it was about including custom applications. And then step three, which was a huge wake-up call for us, which happened at the beginning of this year, was that the really incredible customers, the most forward thinkers, were creating customer and product social networks, that you were including your customers in the social network. That blew us away. You were including your products in the network. You were hooking your products onto the network. That was amazing. And we saw you doing things like with social marketing that we had never seen before. We saw you listening and analyzing deeply into the network. Never seen that before. And the product and partner capability was astonishing. Product social networks, customer social networks, employee social networks, and this deep customer social profile. That's why we really took a big step back after the last Dreamforce. And we said, we got to get on the road. Things are changing. Things are evolving. We are changing as an industry. We all need to step up. And I said to my own team, we've got to go forward. We have to transform. And that's why what I want to do with you today, ladies and gentlemen, over the next 2 hours, is to inspire you, to educate you, to excite you, to evangelize you into what we've seen in this enterprise social networks. We want to look into the social enterprise. We want to open that door for all of you, a door that we've walked through ourselves. And one of the reasons why we have 45,000 registered attendees, because Salesforce.com is rapidly becoming a social enterprise. But there's no finish line. Our industry is moving and changing so fast, we recognize we have to go even faster. And one of the reasons that we've been able to go faster is because we're all in the cloud, the real cloud, the multi-tenant public cloud that's fast, no hardware or software. You know about that. Easy upgrades, pay as you go, open. Your logic is portable. Your data is portable. And it's inclusive. Everyone can participate. It's democratic. It has equanimity. How many people here are part of companies with less than 1,000 employees? Raise your hand. If you have less than 1,000 employees in your company. How many people here have more than 1,000 employees in your company? Raise your hand. Isn't that amazing? Look at the balance. It's because we're inclusive. This isn't just about companies who are the elite companies, and it's not just about companies that are the small companies. It's about efficiency, about democracy, about economy, about creating a solution that's more green with shared solutions. You can find out about that at green.salesforce.com. But not everyone believes in this. Not everybody believes in this because, ladies and gentlemen, as I've traveled around the world, and I mentioned this last year as well, we need to be thinking about something very important. And that point is we need to beware of the false cloud. Because the false cloud, ladies and gentlemen, is not efficient. It is not democratic. It is not economical. It is not environmental. It is not the future. Because these technologies are not just bleed from one to the next. You didn't see the mainframe bleed into the mini computer bleed into the PC bleed into mobile bleed into tablet, because you could see that when Bill Gates tried to say, oh, well, Windows can run on your phone, that didn't work out too well, right? Not a lot of Windows phones here today, is there? No, there's not. Because you got to cut and start again every time there's a new paradigm. And the way we've learned this is we've been inspired by you. We've traveled around, I've personally gone all over the world to find these best practices, to find these stories. I know I need to come back into this room right now, and I want to deliver those stories back to you. And these are my programs that I've done since we were last together, not including the thousands of other events that Salesforce has put on, looking for these programs, sending our teams out all over the world to listen to you and find out what's going on. You know, it's really powerful for me. I just did an event in Boston, and maybe some of you were there. It was about, 2 or 3 months ago. Is that right, Dan? And what's amazing was, huge Cloudforce Boston, sold out. It was amazing. We're flying in. I'm on Twitter. Heading to Salesforce, Cloudforce Boston. It's going to be amazing. We see some amazing things happening. Going to do some amazing stories. Hey, I'm staying in my favorite hotel in Boston. Oh, I love it there. We were there at the IPO. I was actually there when I used to work at Oracle. They got a gym in the hotel. They got a great restaurant. I love this hotel. It is fantastic. I love to go to this restaurant. I want to get these restaurant reservations. I want to get my room organized just like this because I love it there. So we land in Boston. We drive out to the hotel. It's like 8 o'clock at night. You know, the whole team is kind of coming in. We get into the hotel. You know what happens? Hey, Mr. Benioff, we're so happy to have you here. Welcome to Cloudforce Boston, and welcome to this hotel. We know you love it so much. I'm like, how did you know that I love it so much? How could you know? We've been following you on Twitter. We've been following you on Facebook. We got your room set up just like you were talking about. I got you the restaurant reservations, no problem. Great table. We got it all set up. That is not what happened. You know what happened. Mr. Benioff, here are your keys. They know who I am. Mike, right on. Cloudforce, yeah. That was kind of a huge revelation for me, and Dan and I were there, and I said, you know what, Dan? Delighting customers is knowing who they are and what they like. What they like is how Mark Zuckerberg has redefined that word. Delighting customers is knowing who they are and what they like and creating that social enterprise profile. That was step one. Getting that customer database so you have that great experience when you get to that hotel. And when we talk about step one, create a customer social profile, we got to rethink about how we're building our customer databases. We got to get back to our data models. We got to get back to the core.